Hey everybody, Kronos here with another War Thunder video. Now in this video I want to give a little update on my channel as well as take a very quick preliminary look at patch 1.43 with some hopefully entertaining dogfight footage in the background. Well, let's start things off with some channel info. As you may have noticed, it has been a while since I last uploaded a video, and the reason is simply that I have at the moment a lot of work to do and simply very little time to play War Thunder and make videos, and this is going to be like that for a while. I will still make videos, but I cannot say with what frequency I will be able to do them. Maybe I manage one a week every now and then, maybe it's 2 or 3 weeks between them, I simply can't say yet. I always had less time to play than most that make War Thunder videos. Now currently I can play about 2 to 4 hours per week. That translates to a few fights in 1 or 2 events. And that really isn't enough for making a video the way I want to make it. Now some of you may wonder now, he said he still has 2 to 4 hours per week to play. That's surely enough for a 15 to 20 minute video. And sometimes this is the case. Sometimes you are really lucky, you play one match and you get everything you need. But most of the time this is not the case and 2 to 4 hours is just not enough, at least the way I want to make my videos. As you know, I like to concentrate on the action. The start, flying towards the objective, looking for targets, flying back to rearm. All of that I think is not that interesting to watch, and honestly I wouldn't even know what to talk about all this time. For me, having good footage that is exciting to watch, or at least I hope it is, was always one of the key elements of the videos I want to make. So that means there's a lot of cutting boring stuff away involved. So let's say you have a 30-minute battle and I use 5 minutes from it. That's a factor of 6 to 1, and that is pretty much the average factor of time played to stuff shown in the video, and that is just for matches that are worth showing and commenting in the first place. However, not every match is worth showing, of course. Sometimes you just have bad luck or you get a very uninteresting match with not much going on. And sometimes you get matches where everything goes well, you do great, get kills and have a good time, but there is still nothing really worth explaining or talking about. The current footage would be an example for that. It was a very entertaining fight in my opinion, dogfighting a few Spitfires and shooting a few of them down, but in the end there was just not much tactics or decision making involved in this particular fight, just going after them and shooting, so not much material for a video where I would like to explain the decisions I make or my tactics or my ideas. So the bottom line is 2 to 4 hours playing might be enough for a video, or it might not be, but I don't have the time to just keep at it till I get something I can use. So in the next months there will most likely be less videos. I just wanted to explain that so you know what's going on. Well, let's move on to another topic. A lot of you have noticed that I focus very much on lower tier planes since a while and asked why that is and if I will do more higher tier planes in the future. Well, there are a few reasons why I focus so much on the lower tier planes since I started playing simulator battle events. First, I simply enjoy the playstyle they represent. I like turn fighting, I like planes with a low wing loading, so I enjoy most of the lower tier planes. The thing is, before I started flying events, there was the problem that flying lower tier planes meant you would meet a lot of newer and less experienced players, so even though I like those planes and I like to fly them, you always felt kind of bad because you knew you were facing more players that are new to the game and don't have much experience. So there are a lot of interesting planes in the lower ranks I would have loved to fly more often, but it just felt a little unfair, so I didn't do it. But in event mode this is not a problem. I face the same team no matter what plane from the list I choose, and that gave me the opportunity to fly some of the planes I like a lot more without feeling bad about it. So that's one reason. Also I think it's just more interesting not to pick the best plane available in an event, but instead try to make a weaker one work. So I often pick a lower tier plane for that reason, like in my Buffalo video. I just wanted to see what that plane can do versus zeros. So that's why I flew so many lower tier planes lately. I enjoy them, and I think they cater most to my current skill set, which is very much focused on dogfighting with a relatively low wing loading. Having said that though, I do want to broaden my horizon and improve with planes and combat styles I am not too familiar with yet, which means specifically planes with a higher wing loading but good roll rate, planes that are good at scissors. I have to say I hardly ever use them so far, so I am not very good at them. That is a distinct gap in my ability and one I would like to close. So recently I decided I want to put more emphasis on flying planes I am not 100% comfortable with yet, like this Focke-Wulf 490A8, which as far as wing loading goes is about as high as you can get with a single engine prop fighter. So to improve with those planes and the fighting style connected to them, specifically using the roll rate and scissors, well, is something I want to improve at, since I haven't really done that too much before, as I almost never flew planes like the Focke-Wulf 490, and I'm not good at it yet, as you can see, but I hope to improve as I do it more often, and I hope I can bring you some more footage of it too, and those planes are of course usually higher tier. So yeah, there will hopefully be more higher tier simulator battle gameplay on the channel, especially of the Focke-Wulf 190, as this is what I want to improve at, and I hope I will then also be able to give you some commentary on the whole improving at scissors thing. But it of course also depends on which events are available when I play. Now chat gameplay I can't show you yet because I don't have one unlocked yet, but I'm working on that. I should get the Meteor soon and the P80 soon after. And well, that's it for the channel info part. Let's take a quick look at a few things in 1.43. But it is really just a preliminary quick look, since the patch just came out and I need some more time to play it, to give a real opinion on the whole thing, but a few things I wanted to mention already. Let's start with one of the things I so far like the most in this new patch, the new maps for the ground forces, specifically the Poland map. One of my main complaints, if not my only one, about the War Thunder ground forces in simulator battle mode was always the maps. The small arcade maps just did not work very well in simulator mode. The engagement ranges were generally too short, the tanks were often funneled into 2 or 3 quote-unquote lanes, similar to how many of the World of Tanks maps are laid out. And those small arcade maps are also packed full with vegetation, like lots of grass, bushes of all sizes and trees, all packed very tight together, creating a very dense vegetation and lots of concealment. Now that means the maps look very pretty with all that colorful vegetation, but it also presents a very big balancing problem, because not all computers can handle all that pretty vegetation, so you can turn down your graphics and all of it disappears. This was most obvious on the jungle map, where you could simply turn the name-giving jungle off and turn the map into a barren desert instead. The implications for the gameplay are of course that one guy thinks he is perfectly concealed in the middle of a dense jungle, while for another person he is sitting in the middle of a wide open field with no vegetation anywhere near him. Gaijin tried to counter that a bit by having the name tags in realistic battles and the minimap icons in simulator battle, and that is, by the way, in case you wondered, the reason why said name tags and minimap icons never got removed from their respective game modes, even though the majority of the beta testers wanted them gone. Now, the new maps don't 100% fix this problem, it is just improved, because the vegetation is much less dense in general, so turning graphics down does not have such a large impact anymore. So that's good, but more importantly, the Poland map is just pretty much what I hoped a simulator battle map would be. It's large and provides opportunity for different kinds of combat. There's a small town in the middle of it for close-range urban fighting. There are wide fields around it for long-range fights, where you can have shootouts at 2-kilometer range, and there are forests you can use to flank through and hide, or at least you could hide there if the minimap icons were gone, which they are not, at least not completely, but it seems they at least don't show up 100% of the time anymore. Now, with the detail settings being not such a big deal anymore on the new maps, I hope that Gaijin soon decides to remove them completely, or at least reduce the range they show up at. I guess I could live with them being there if they only show up at very short range and if the tank shown is within the field of view of a vision block. Overall, I have to say the new map alone improves the Ground Forces gameplay significantly for me. And I hope we will see increasing player numbers again in Simulator Battleground Forces. I think it is a pity that Gaijin did not have the patience to wait till those new maps were ready before they went into open beta. As many beta testers, I think they went into open beta, which is almost the same as release in this case anyway, way too early, and I fear that cost Gaijin and the game in the long run, as far few players that tried War Thunder Ground Forces stuck with the game than I expect would have if they would have waited till now or even longer than that to go into open beta. Now it will take some work to get those people back. But well, with this new map I think the game is moving in the right direction. Now, what else do we have in the patch? There are of course a lot of flight model changes in the patch. I have to play a little longer to be able to say much about them, but a few things I already noticed from the planes I have flown are: the BF-109E is much less likely to stall now, and therefore a lot more maneuverable than it was before. And a similar thing is true for the F4F Wildcat as well. It also does not stall as easy as it once did. The plane used to have a very nasty tendency to abruptly stall without warning. That seems to be gone. The complete opposite is the case for the Hellcat. Everybody's favorite UFO can now, after months of waiting, actually stall. I'm not sure about the rest of the plane yet, but at least it's stalling. There are of course a lot more changes than that to flight models, but I have not flown that many planes yet. Now, about the flight models of the newer planes, I have mixed feelings about those. Some seem to be fine, like the Yak-1 and the I-16, but I have my reservations about the Ki-27 and the F-7F. Both of them have a somewhat suspicious stall behavior. I can't say anything about the new jets because, as I've already said, I don't have them unlocked yet. Now, other than the completely new planes, we have of course also a few Lend-Lease premium aircraft and a huge amount of captured planes, like a German Tempest and Yak-1, a Japanese B-17, a United States Hayabusa and a United States Focke-Wulf 190 in bright orange. And the fact that we have so many captured aircraft in this batch is something I am quite disappointed about. I was never a big fan of captured aircraft, for different reasons. First of all, it's just weird facing planes like a US Focke-Wulf 190 in bright orange, test colors in what is supposed to be a realistic game mode. And I also think the growing number of captured planes also destroy the uniqueness of the nations as well as the different matchups. After all, the number of captured planes almost doubled in this batch alone, and we don't know if there are more planned for future batches. And I fear if this keeps going on, the nations will become exchangeable because you can fly everything everywhere. And of course in simulator battle mode you often identify planes on their silhouette at longer ranges and act accordingly. Having a plane that looks like the enemy until you get close enough for the name tags to show up is an unfair advantage in simulator battle mode. How much of one is up for debate, but it is one. But the main reason why I am disappointed about the decision to include all those captured planes is that most of the community, at least in realistic battle and simulator battle, did not want them, and we got them anyway. Most people were never happy about captured planes. Even back when I started War Thunder there were discussions on the forums about that. And the reaction on the forum to the reveal of the captured B-17 showed that this has not changed. I think going against the wishes of the majority of the community like this to make a quick buck is not going to help the game in the long run. Now, at this point, there sometimes comes up the argument that the people that talk and provide feedback on the forums are just a vocal minority and the wishes of most of the players are different. Well, I disagree. Honestly, I think that saying that all the people that actually provide feedback are the minority and all the ones that do not are the majority with totally different wishes and actually just want exactly what you do anyway is both unrealistic and a lazy way to justify ignoring the wishes of the community. I do hope Gaijin realizes this, and this is the last batch of captured planes. There are other ways to get simple premium aircraft in the game if that is really so important, like Lend-Lease planes or planes flown on the same site by different nations, like the premium Heinkel 112 in the German tree for example. Well, That's what I wanted to talk about. I might make a more in-depth video about 1.43 at a later time. Well, and this is it for this video. I hope it was entertaining, thanks for watching, and maybe I'll see you next time.